What I'm going to show you in a minute isn't about shock value, not just trying to, join the cavalcade here of people who are just saying things just to be heard and just to be obnoxious. I'm trying to get you to look at things through a little bit of a different lens. Look at what's going on here in America through a little bit of a different lens. Anyway, hello. I'm Elena Barbera. This is the Base Mother Show. Thank you so much for coming by. Bernie Sanders, our senator, our socialist senator from Vermont, who calls himself a democratic socialist because it supposedly makes it sound a little bit better. There's nothing democratic about it. He's a Marxist. He's on a tour around the whole country, and he's on this anti-Trump, anti-oligarchy tour. I mean, he's just all these catchphrases, and he's running around the country trying to rally people against Trump, even though most of us are for Trump and we approve of what's going on. We approve of the corruption that they're uncovering, even if we don't approve of every single detail of the presidency, which is fine and good and normal. This weekend in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Bernie Sanders held one of these anti-Trump rallies, and he invited this singer on stage, a dude named, what is his name again? Excuse me. His name is Thomas James Gable, but he now calls himself Laura Jane Grace because he thinks he's a broad, but he's not. He's a dude. Anyway, he sang this song at this rally in Wisconsin. And this is the part where he's saying, I'm not showing you this just for shock value, but listen carefully because I only plan on playing this once.
Does your God have a big fat dick? Cause it feels like he's fucking me. Are his balls filled with lightning? Do they tingle like heaven's keys? Does your God have a big fat dick? Cause it feels like he's fucking me.
Can't really decide the most disturbing part about that. The fact that he's singing these lyrics, the fact that he's singing these lyrics at a Democrat rally, the fact that a sitting congressman invited this man to come and sing these lyrics, or the fact that the audience is cheering for this is obviously anti-God, like just blatantly saying up yours to God. Like this is demonic stuff. It is also really vulgar. Like really, really vulgar. There were children in attendance. The song goes on, gets into Jesus, Easter, just anti-God, anti-decency. Again, I didn't play that for shock value because, it's anti-Christian and it's filthy and it's obscene. And I got to be honest, as a Christian, as a mother, as just a person who tries to remain decent, I wouldn't say that I'm offended by that, although could of course be categorized as offensive. I'm repulsed by that entire display, by the singer, by the song, by the lyrics, by the vibe, by the audience cheering for it. It is downright repugnant that this is what our government has come to, inviting people like that onto stage as part of their displays. So if you, Bernie, were hoping to win over people who have a relationship with God, well, you were going to have a hard time anyway because of all your other psycho policies like pro-crime, pro-murder, pro-abortion, pro having no borders. You're going to have a tough time anyway. But then after this, yeah, good luck. Good luck, kid. You're going to get more demons. So that's what you want. You're trying to collect demons, godless people who don't believe in decency and honesty and morals and nature and science. Then bang up job you did. You're doing a great job, Bernie. Great job then, if that's what you're looking for. But when I started, what I said was I'm trying to get you to look at this through a different lens because I see things through a different lens than I used to. I used to just, right, wrong. I used to see things as this is a political disagreement. Oh, the left is crazy. This is left versus right. This is Democrat versus Republican. It's not about that. Not even a little bit. There is a deep moral divide between us. There are deep ethical divides and disagreements between us. And most clearly, This is a battle of good and evil. We are living and walking through a spiritual battle. Now, like, if that's the first time you're hearing this, believe this idea of spiritual warfare, believe me, I know it sounds crazy, but like a couple of years ago, if you said that to me, I'd be like, what are you even talking about? Like, this is just politics, you know? Um, but I'm still getting to know the idea and the nuance about spiritual warfare. But once I have started looking through that lens and trying to really understand God and read the Bible and know his laws and know his ways and know the ways that he wants us to act and what he hopes for us and expects for us, even though we have free will, we get to choose, right? And I'm seeing people choose purposefully, willfully, arrogantly the opposite of what God has asked of us. And that's because they are following the dark side. They're following the ways of the world, and the ways of the world are dark and evil. And so I see everything as a battle of good and evil in our politics now. When I see somebody like Mayor Michelle Wu defending illegal aliens who have raped dozens of people in her children, excuse me, in her state, that's evil. That is evil covering up for evil. You can't reason with somebody like that. That's not even a more, there's no moral common ground that we can share and just have a little bit of a perspective difference. No, you're defending rapists and murderers. Okay. And I don't mean a legal defense. I mean, they're morally defending them and overlooking their crimes. And we can't reconcile with these people. So in the book of Philippians, chapter 3, the Apostle Paul wrote, look out for the dogs, look out for the evildoers, look out for those who mutilate the flesh. Like, this was going on 2,000 years ago. All this craziness. There was evil. There were people mutilating their flesh back then. He was talking about it. And so tonight, let's take a look. The Bernie incident, that was just a highlight from the past few days of what we've seen going on in our country. But let's look out for the rest of the dogs, the evildoers, the mutilators, because we got plenty here. Let's start with the dog. We've got Jasmine Crockett, our lovely congresswoman from Texas. What an embarrassment. She talks like she's from the street. She wants to be Jenny from the block. No, you know what? No, it's not even fair to call Jenny from the block as low as this one. She just wants to be this like ghetto ratchet street urchin, who's like sexy red in Congress. And it's so embarrassing. And she's so trashy. But it turns out it's all an act anyway, because this old video of her resurfaced where she was speaking in perfectly good, college educated, full sentences. And now she just screams and yells on the internet and does dances to rap music in the halls of Congress. Okay. All right. You're seeing this good and evil pattern here. Somebody that's standing in the halls of Congress talking about how bad white people are, talking about her people built this mother effer. We're talking about dark, evil, lies, hate-filled, divisive, inhumane BS. But anyway, here's one more thing that she put up. Now, this is a clip that she posted to her own Facebook story, and it is a cartoon where you can see a cartoon character, one representing Jasmine Crockett herself, one representing AOC, and they are both beating on a Republican. Look at this. I'll try to make it even a little bit bigger for you. Yeah. You see that? Just so on the left, it says AOC. On the right, it says Jasmine Crockett. And in the middle there, it says Republican, that they are stomping on. This is what our finest in Congress are putting out there. It's so divisive. It's cruel. It's unproductive. If any Republican put that out with a Democrat under their feet getting stomped on, even in a cartoon, there would be protests all over the place. Anybody that suggests that that's how you deal with your colleagues in Congress, or with the citizens of your nation by two of you beating on them while they're on the ground. Anyone who blatantly suggests that with the kind of household name following she has, especially, should be removed. I'm not sure what the path for removing her is other than voting her out, but if there's an immediate path, somebody that puts that out should be removed. Nobody should be portraying colleagues and citizens like that. I mean, that's like nuts. We're the Nazis. We're the fascists. But that's what she's putting out. And that's me on the ground. That's you, if you're a Republican, on the ground, taking a beating from her and AOC, getting kicked in the head, literally. Dogs. But let's look at the evildoers. So then we have, look at somebody like Jocelyn Nungray, the little girl in Houston, who we hear about all the time. I will never stop talking about her. Last year, she was kidnapped, and for 2 hours, she was raped and beaten and tortured by two Venezuelan illegal aliens, during which time they ultimately strangled her to death after raping her for 2 hours and tossed her body into a ravine. Democrats, when we were saying this illegal invasion is ridiculous while Joe Biden was in the office, first they were saying it wasn't happening. There is no illegal invasion. This is normal immigration levels, and you do not believe your eyes. People are getting killed. People are getting robbed. People are having immigrants knocking on their doors, begging for money. People are seeing more crime in their streets. They're seeing their tax dollars being spent, but no, don't believe your eyes. That's what they were saying. It's not happening. Then they admitted that it was happening, but they said that Republicans were blocking a bill, and so they couldn't stop it. There was nothing they could do. There was nothing they could do. Remember that one? Then they said, when Trump took office, now that we're making it stop that easily, because the president, of course, has the power to protect the nation's sovereignty by just enforcing the nation's laws. Then they said that we were being cruel for making it stop. And now, just this past week, when Donald Trump gave his speech to Congress, he was really lovely. And he had Jocelyn Nungray, this little girl. They had his mother there. And during that speech with his mother, he honored Jocelyn and talked about her lovely, unfortunately short, only 12-year long life. And he said that there's a national wildlife refuge near her home on the Gulf of America. And he signed an executive order and told his mother about it right there on national television, that he's renaming that wildlife refuge the Jocelyn Nungray Wildlife Refuge. It was a beautiful gesture. It was the least we could do as a nation after we did not protect this little girl, because our last presidential administration completely left us defenseless, left this little girl defenseless, and these two monsters came in at Biden's invitation and raped and murdered her. And not one Democrat stood and clapped to honor that this wildlife refuge was going to be renamed after this little girl who suffered so badly because of their lack of responsibility, because of their sicko policies. Not one of them stood. So these are the evildoers. They did this. They knew people were getting robbed, raped, and murdered. They knew crimes were being committed. They knew that the American people were paying billions and billions of dollars in services for these illegal aliens. They knew that crimes are, that tens of millions of people were just pouring over the border. They knew that they were being flown all over the country on the American taxpayers' dime. They knew that Biden himself flew 150 million people in from Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Venezuela. 150,000, excuse me, not 150 million. They flew them in. We paid for that. They knew that all of these things were happening, that all of this corruption was going on, that all of these little NGOs were making money on this. They did it. They allowed it to happen. They allowed that little girl to get murdered, and they didn't even have the decency to fake caring for her, caring about it at the joint congressional address last week. Evildoers. Dogs, evildoers, and mutilators. Let's talk about the mutilators. Mulvaney, Dylan Mulvaney. This is a dude who famously, thinks he's a chick, thinks he's a girl. It's like a 30-year-old man who calls himself a girl. He has like this child fetish going on. He has had all kinds of surgery. I mean, his face is completely reconstructed. It's such a shame what he's done to his natural body. This week on International Women's Day, he kicked off a PR campaign for his new book about being a girl on again International Women's Day, which I personally don't celebrate because I don't like identity politics. I don't need a special day just for being a woman. I just think it's dumb. I don't like any identity politics. But it does mean a lot to a lot of women, and a lot of people do celebrate it on the left and the right. So for International Women's Day, he's out on this press tour, and here's a little clip from Dylan.
Amy says she never wanted to be an activist, but has found herself navigating a society that's not always supportive of trans rights.
On his first day in office, President Trump signed the order which recognized two sexes, male and female. When you heard that pronouncement, what did you think?
It didn't change any way that I think about myself, because I'm a woman no matter what my passport says. We are not hurting anyone. We're less than 1% of the population. And the way that they speak about us so often is as if we're like taking over cities like Godzilla.
Taking over cities like Godzilla. Well, you do have something in common with Godzilla. Your womanhood is as make-believe as Godzilla. All right, Dylan. So there's that. And yeah, you may not be taking down bridges and skyscrapers and fighting with King Kong directly, but you are as destructive as Godzilla. Let's see. Men who in dresses are destroying women's sports. They're raping women in women's prisons. Well, they used to. President Trump stopped that too. They are stealing women's scholarships. They're putting women in the hospital in some of these sporting events. They're attacking children's minds in school, which is leading to medicalization, sterilization, and gender surgeries for children across the country. So do not act like you're so innocent and there's no destruction coming from this. I'm just a girl. I didn't do anything wrong. No, you're a dude pretending to be a girl. And you are causing havoc in America. And if you think that by putting out this little book and prancing around in frilly underwear, you're going to change anything for transgender people, and you're going to change minds of people like me who are sick of the way you've gone after the children, who are sick of the way you're gone after women's rights, you've got another thing coming. You're not a woman. You're a fella. All right, Dylan? And I like how he turned around and he used his name. He was given the name Dylan as a child, and so he says that Dylan can be a girl name. I've never met a woman named Dylan, but that's what he says, so he kept it. So when I'm calling you Dylan, I'm calling you boy Dylan, just so you know. If you ever see me, I'm dead naming you, and I will always dead name you. I could call myself Priscilla tomorrow because I like that name better. I really don't, but you know what? My name is still Elena because that's not the name my mother and father gave me. Whether I like it or not, I do like it, but because I'm not a freaking psychopath. So, when we talk about the battle of good and evil, there are the mutilators. They're mutilating an entire generation of children and young women and young men, especially girls and young women, because they've got them also convinced to hate themselves. It's such a crazy, sick thing. And while Paul's telling us to look out for these mutilators, Jesus himself told us this, but about children, whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. God himself calls what you're doing evil. Taking innocent children and causing them to mutilate their own bodies, causing them to mutilate what he created. God himself is warning you. Battle of good and evil, spiritual battle. It is no joke. And it's been it's something that has probably always been going on. I have been blind to it. I've been absent to it. I'm awake to it now, and I see how intense it's gotten, because never before have they come after children at this level on such a global scale to try to mutilate and brainwash and destroy children's presence and their future. And there's one last note, Libs of TikTok. This is a graphic that they put up. Do you know who all these people are? These are this is the quote. Over 165 school employees have been arrested or sentenced so far in 2025 on charges relating to child sex crimes. $165 school employees. That's teachers, librarians, janitors, administrators, child pornography, or actual sexual abuse of a child, like sexual relationships with a child. 165 of them. That's what we know of so far. That's who have been prosecuted or in the process of being prosecuted. We are living in very, very, very sick times. We'll call them dogs and evildoers, okay? In this little sick, twisted game that we're playing. Anyway, this isn't, all the examples that I gave you, Bernie, Dylan Mulvaney, Jasmine Crockett, all the teachers. These are not all to say, that all Democrats are evil and all Republicans are good. Like, I definitely am on the right here. I am conservative. I have more Republican values, but those, are trumped, of course, by the biblical values I have adopted and continue to adopt as I learn more. Both of these, there's evil in all places. But, I chose these examples today because of their anti-Christian, anti-God, anti-child themes. They are all working against you, your nature as a child of God, your family unit. They're trying to take your child and break their little mind so that they just are so broken they have no choice but to become dependent upon the government. When children are damaged, Jaco Booyens, he has been in the sex trafficking industry trying to stop it for like 30 years because his sister was kidnapped and sex trafficked, and he didn't see her for several years. And it just changed his life and set him on this path, a ministry to save people from sex trafficking. And one of the things he said is when people get out of sex trafficking, they're so broken. Like, they don't care who's in office. They don't care about city council. They don't care about the president. They don't even vote at all. Like, they can't even get through the day. So when you damage people like that, you can do anything. You can do anything around them. They don't care. They don't care if the sun goes up or doesn't. They don't care if it rains or it snows. They don't care if they eat, if they don't eat. And that's how their life is, because they're so damaged. And they're doing this to our kids. They're doing this to our kids. So Dylan, when you're saying, oh, we're not like Godzilla. No, you're not like Godzilla, but you are. What do we got here? You are putting little books like this. This is a board book, pronoun book, bye-bye binary. Yeah. These are board books for little kids. You're Godzilla, all right. In my daddy's belly. Nope, your daddy didn't have a baby. Not possible. Anyway, everybody, there's much, much, much more evil. These were just things that were top of mind for me this week that are burning in my brain as I watch our country continue to burn. Yeah, we have some hope with Donald Trump at the helm. He can't fix everything. It's up to us to take back this country and to take back our family unit and to control what goes into our children's minds, into their brains. What music, what movies are they watching? How much time are they spending on that screen, that little screen in their hand? Shouldn't be any, frankly. It shouldn't be any. I've got family, 9, 10-year-olds with their own smartphones. Like, why? We have so much data that tells us that this is poison for their minds, for just the operation of their brain. Even if they're looking at more positive stuff, it's still so unhealthy, and they're not able to focus on sitting down and reading a book, never mind getting a project done. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Please pay attention to the battle of good and evil. Just consider it. I'm going to be learning more about it so I can become more eloquent about it and explain it. But it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. Oh, like look at Hollywood. Like why are all these celebrities doing all this devil stuff? It's not just for shock value. They actually like the devil. They think that people who have godly values are out to get them. It's like, no. When I think about these people who are following the devil and who, just normalizing crime and normalizing sex with children and normalizing abuse and making it all sound just like it's all fine and dandy and telling children that it's okay for themselves to, look at themselves as sexual creatures. I look at them and it's like, I'm not sitting here looking at you thinking I'm better than you. I'm sitting here thinking, may God help you. I will pray for you. And if you only knew how much calmer and more content and happy you'd be if you gave God a shot, man, then you'd see why I care and you see why I talk about it. Anyway, lay off the damn kids. Anyway, I really mean it when I say in my goodbye, God bless you and God bless America. Good night, everybody.